GlamGlow was one of the biggest beauty success stories of the 2010s. The brand went from being completely unheard of to being loved by celebrities, influencers especially, and just beauty enthusiasts in general. They gained popularity worldwide in the space of just a few short years. They were everywhere. And the story of how they achieved this success is actually pretty unique. You could say it involves a chat with Keanu Reeves, a collaboration with Sonic the Hedgehog, and catching the eye of one of the biggest names in beauty. But in recent years, the brand story has been much less of a fairy tale, and they've been brought crashing back down to reality. Their star power has waned. No one's interested in them anymore, and the brand is now on the decline. Today, I want to discuss how GlamGlow, I'm struggling to say that, I don't know why, GlamGlow got started, how they became so successful, and how it all seems to have gone so wrong for them. Let's talk about their big break into Hollywood. Really. Founders Shannon and Glenn Dellimore came up with the idea for GlamGlow way back in 2008, which doesn't really feel that long ago, but it was so long ago. I still feel like it was like 5 years ago. They were at a party in LA, one of those parties, and happened to be talking to Keanu Reeves, just because. And in an article for Los Angeles magazine, Shannon said Keanu was talking about getting older and being up late reading scripts and how to make his skin camera ready. And he said that he didn't have time to do a long routine for weeks or months to see the results that he needed. He just needed something that would work in about 10 minutes and something that he could use in the evening, then wake up looking like he's had like a whole facial. Now, after realizing that there was nothing on the market at the time that fit the bill, Shannon and Glenn started doing their own research into suitable ingredients, and they started to experiment with a formula they thought would work, would please Keanu and anybody else who needed this kind of like instant pick-me-up from their skincare. And by 2010, they felt like they had perfected the formula, with their secret ingredient being the inclusion of green tea leaves, which doesn't sound crazy unique now, right? It's all over K-beauty, but back at the time it kind of was, because cosmetic formulas would use green tea extract instead, pretty much because it's more stable in a formula, right? But the Dellimores claim that the process of steeping the tea leaves in mud was what made their formulas so effective. They even patented the process and called it teoxy. I hate that name, that's horrible. So now Shannon and Glenn were ready to send their formula out into the world and see what feedback they got. And they started the same way most small brands do, right? By filling small jars of product at home in their living room or in their kitchen and giving these samples away to friends. Now, their friends weren't just friends, they were celebrity friends. So they had some good contacts. Glenn had actually been working as a business consultant for spas in LA. One of these spas counted Lindsay Lohan and Solange Knowles among their clients. So again, they had good connections. And they managed to get their samples to Lindsay Lohan and Solange through this connection. And it was at this point that the company didn't even formally exist. They didn't even have a name or proper packaging, but that didn't seem to matter at all. And it didn't take long for an impressive list of celebrities to come asking for some of their magic mud, as they called it at the time. Apparently, allegedly, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Natalie Portman, and Miley Cyrus wanted to try their products really, really bad. They had heard how good this mud was, and they had to get their hands on it. On top of that, Hollywood studios had started to hear about it as well, and both 20th Century Fox and Universal Studios wanted to order some of their product to have on set for their actors. Now, after the popularity of some of their samples, the Dellimores were approached by the department store Neiman Marcus, which we don't have here in the UK, but they wanted to stock their product, which again, didn't really even exist at the moment. So it was in June of 2010 that GlamGlow was officially founded, and they named their first star product Youth Mud. And Youth Mud was a mud mask designed to deliver glowing skin in minutes, making it ideal for actors before filming and other celebrities before a photo shoot or a red carpet. Along with the previously mentioned green tea leaves, it also contained mud from the south of France, volcanic rock, ivy, lavender, and a host of really other unusual ingredients that you didn't see in skincare at the time. The brand took off almost immediately. Not only were they hugely popular amongst celebrities before they even officially launched, but by 2011, Youth Mud was being carried in all 41 Neiman Marcus stores, and by 2012, they'd launched in Sephora stores and were available to buy in 28 different countries. They actually became very, very quickly popular with makeup artists and others who worked backstage in the entertainment industry as almost like a go-to for achieving radiant glowing glowing skin. This all happened in the space of just a couple of years. It happened very, very quickly, and they would continue to grow rapidly. They literally came out of nowhere, it seemed, both in Hollywood and in the rest of the world. They were soon stocked by luxury spas like Canyon Ranch and in Four Seasons hotels. And in 2013, after being asked to create a pimple remedy for American Idol contestants, the brand launched their second product, the Super Mud Mask. Their new product contained a unique patented 6-acid combination that they say perfectly adapted to the natural pH of the skin. And it was designed to reduce pimples, blackheads, blemishes, enlarged pores, and a whole host of other potential skin issues, right? And Super Mud was another success, becoming another hugely popular product for the brand, especially globally, actually, where it became a top seller in many major markets, including China. They loved it. This helped make GlamGlow one of the top selling skincare brands at Sephora worldwide. And the brand's growth was really helped by distinguishing itself from competitors with sleek, colorful packaging. You know, it had that like silver and then like stars all over it. It was very Hollywood, actually. It was kind of like, in my opinion, it kind of looked like tourist merch from the Hollywood Walk of Fame kind of thing. And they had these really interesting names as well that you could instantly remember. And these factors, all the marketing, along with the apparent effectiveness of their products, made them so popular, especially on social media, especially Instagram, which was bigger than anything else at the time. And this was something that GlamGlow leaned heavily into. I'm going to struggle with GlamGlow. You're just going to have to ignore it. I'm so sorry. I can't wrap my tongue around it. GlamGlow. It sounds like I'm saying it wrong. They had clearly identified their target market as millennials, and they went all out marketing to that audience. They were like fun and glamorous and stood out to influencers who couldn't stop talking about the brand. Huge influencers at the time like Huda Kattan, Jeffree Star, many others, all the big names at the time praised the brand in the early days, which helped drive sales globally. And the focus on glowing, smooth skin aligned with beauty trends at the time, making GlamGlow a staple in influencer routines. I would say the only other brand that was really this big amongst influencers would be Glossier. Like, they managed to do their marketing so well. GlamGlow also capitalized on celebrity endorsements and collaborations. The brand's association with stars and its Hollywood origin story really did add to the allure at the time, positioning the mask as luxurious and high performance. This was when people gave a shit about Hollywood, and I'll talk about this more later, but people like, you know, this is what like Paris Hilton uses and Lindsay Lohan uses and all that kind of stuff. People really wanted to use what celebrities were using at the time. It was marketed as luxurious and high performance, and they continued to release popular and effective products that their fans absolutely loved. This included their Thirsty Mud Hydrating Treatment, which was a hydrating mask aimed at deeply moisturizing and soothing the skin. This was very different to their other like clay mask, which tend to have a drying effect, and their Power Mud Dual Cleanse treatment designed to deep clean the pores without drying your skin. And what they were doing was clearly working. The brand sales skyrocketed from just $40,000 in the first year to $18 million by the end of 2013. And as well as being sold in Sephora and Neiman Marcus, at this point, GlamGlow's products could be also found in a range of high-end department stores such as Selfridges, Harvey Nichols, and Bloomingdale's. They were also available in like Boots as well here in the UK at one point. So no matter what your budget was, it seemed like everybody could afford GlamGlow or had access to GlamGlow. It was a celebrity product made for everyone. And unsurprisingly, this kind of astronomical growth caught the attention of some big names in the beauty industry. Talks between GlamGlow and Estée Lauder began in 2014, and Estée Lauder finalized a deal to acquire the trending brand in January of 2015. The fee was undisclosed. They didn't say how much it was because it's tacky to talk about money, right? But it was rumored to be between 100 to 125 million initially, rising to a total amount of between 200 to 220 million. Not bad for a beauty brand started by a couple with no experience in the skincare world and no money from investors, and in such a short amount of time. And this sale really did help solidify GlamGlow's position in the global beauty industry, with Shannon and Glenn saying that the Estée Lauder companies embraced their brand philosophy that skincare can be sexy, innovative, and fun. They go on to say the company has the scale and vision to help bring the brand to its next phase of growth while remaining true to the identity that we've worked so hard to build. Having personally grown our brand every step of the way, we could not imagine a better home for GlamGlow. Now, under Estee Lauder's ownership, Estee Lauder, and with the Delamores still in charge of like the day-to-day running of the company, GlamGlow continued to grow. It continued to go from strength to strength. Usually at this point in a brand story, the big conglomerate tends to take over and it all goes to shit, but GlamGlow were doing really fucking well. They were getting stronger. In 2015, they launched their new Gravity Mud, which was a firming and tightening mask that included some even more interesting ingredients like marshmallow leaf, marine algae plasma, and licorice. And at the time, people were like, whoa, what are these ingredients? These are ingredients we see in a lot of our skincare nowadays. They weren't the first to use algae, but they were the first kind of really highlight it as like a star ingredient. And I remember people freaking the fuck out over licorice. And this treatment really caught the attention of consumers and influencers mainly, of course, because it was white when you applied it, but then it quickly turned like a shiny silver color before you then had to peel it off your face about 20 minutes later. It was amazing. I bought this one purely because of how it looked. And the brand continued to capitalize on the growing market for face masks at the time, a market they'd helped make popular in recent years. And they continued to use social media and influencer marketing to great effect, really. They were doing giveaways, they were like really like honing in on like local celebrities, and they started recruiting their glam ambassadors. And these were influencers who are either paid or given products to talk about and promote GlamGlow. And they were kind of really one of the bigger brands doing this at the time. Well, skincare brands, I should say. A lot of makeup brands were doing it. A lot of influencers were using affiliate marketing through their makeup products, but not a lot of skincare. Now, GlamGlow also collaborated with major franchises like My Little Pony, which I actually bought because they look really cool. They had like fucking glitter in. I loved the mask. Power Rangers and Sonic the Hedgehog, all of which were like these nostalgic franchises for the millennial consumer base. And they were really smart marketing ploys, honestly, by the brand. I fell for it. One of the most successful collaborations was the Sonic Blue Gravity Mud Firming Treatment in celebration of the 25th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog. And these were metallic blue masks. They were so popular. They were all over social media in 2017. Under Estee Lauder, they also appointed their very first brand ambassador, model and social media influencer Nick Bateman. And this was part of their attempt to, as a brand, to capitalize on the growing boy beauty trend at the time. In addition to appointing a male ambassador, they also regularly used the Men Who Mask hashtag on their social media posts, and it was working. It worked. Things were going so well for GlamGlow under Estee Lauder's ownership for several years after the takeover. But unfortunately, the brand's popularity would fall as quickly as it had risen, and after 2018, things seemed to have taken a downward turn for the brand. And it really did feel like it just happened all of a sudden. There are likely a lot of reasons for GlamGlow's decline in sales and relevancy in the beauty market, but one of the biggest factors is likely the increase of competition they've experienced in recent years. The beauty industry just saw an influx of masks products recently. Like many brands that we see in this series, they became a victim of their own success. They helped popularize face masks, peel-off masks in particular, and we all know that anytime a product category becomes popular, in the beauty world, there will always be brands looking to take advantage and make money off the growing trends and dupe the more popular and more expensive products. And more competitors appeared. We also had the black peel-off mask going so viral that people were buying shitty cheap versions of Amazon and AliExpress at the time. This was pre-Temu, but it was all those kind of sites that people were buying these off for much cheaper prices. But also, consumers started to question the products that they used and the brands they supported. Consumers wanted more transparency and authenticity from brands. They wanted to support brands that were sustainable and that they could relate to. And GlamGlow's Hollywood image not only clashed with this, but many of their products weren't seen as sustainable or environmentally friendly. They contained things like plastic, glitter, and came in huge layers of unnecessary packaging. GlamGlow's masks were always marked at a premium price, with their products generally setting you back about 70 quid for a jar, which even today is crazy money. And as more affordable options emerged that promised similar results, that also aligned with a gentler approach that people were taking to skincare, consumers began kind of gravitating towards these alternatives. Brands like The Ordinary delivered results at a fraction of the cost, which made GlamGlow's price point harder to justify for many users. As well as being expensive in comparison to the competitors, GlamGlow had also developed a reputation for making products that were very harsh on consumers' skin. They may have been effective for many, but lots of consumers felt that the active ingredients in GlamGlow's products were a bit too strong and not suitable for anyone with sensitive skin. And I agree. Looking back at these masks, I don't think people really knew the extent of the ingredients in there. Like seeing that there were 6 different types of acid in one exfoliating mask, with the rise of The Ordinary and teaching us what these certain ingredients were, then reflecting back at GlamGlow's ingredients is like, what the fuck? Like, why have you put so many potentially harsh ingredients into one mask? It sounds crazy. GlamGlow was very much part of the if it's stinging, it's working kind of time period that a lot of us live through as well with skincare, that we look back on now that we think that's a crazy way to think about skincare. Like nothing should ever sting your skin like that. And again, this reflects GlamGlow's failure to keep up with changing trends, which they didn't. They couldn't. A lot of beauty consumers didn't want to use these harsh formulas on their skin for short-term benefits anymore. They wanted gentler formulas that nourish their skin over time with a concentration on healthy skin barrier, which isn't something GlamGlow is or has ever been known for. I remember when they launched their Super Toner Exfoliating Acid solution, and I remember looking at it thinking, no, like this is it for GlamGlow. It felt so outdated. It looked outdated. Their marketing looked outdated. This whole Hollywood sexy skincare thing was just bizarre now. And I remember thinking, who wants this? Nobody wants this nowadays. Everything about the brand just felt wrong, from marketing to price points to ingredients. They just didn't change with the times. There was also a point about their marketing, which again started to feel very, very outdated. When they first launched, as I mentioned, they were all about Hollywood and celebrity lifestyle and what the celebs are using. Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, they all use these masks. And slowly, people didn't care about Hollywood anymore. Influencers were taking over. People cared what influencers were using, not what Hollywood was using, because Hollywood started to feel very unrealistic, very fake, very plastic. And influencers at the time were normal people, like your friends who you could relate to, and you wanted to know what they were using because they were real people. And GlamGlow's marketing didn't keep up with this. Although they had started to do some influencer marketing, their whole brand was founded on this Hollywood image. They just felt very outdated and they did nothing to make themselves feel modern. Saying that, at the end of 2018, GlamGlow was still one of the leading brands in the world of face masks, and nobody was really expecting their downfall at all. But for all the reasons we just kind of discussed, over a period of years, sales started to slowly decline very, very quickly, and soon they were losing shelf space to their growing list of competitors. By July of 2022, this all came to a head when Estee Lauder announced that they would be pulling GlamGlow out of the UK and Ireland, as they could no longer compete in that region. It's a really easy region to compete in, I feel. Like, we don't have a lot. Like, we do now, but like, when it comes to American brands, we want these American brands. So for an American brand that was pushed by influencers and celebrities to fail in the UK and Ireland, I think it's unheard of. A statement from Estee Lauder actually said that over recent years, GlamGlow sales have been impacted by changes in the brand's retail space and location, combined with competitive challenges in key subcategories, and we've had to make the difficult decision to cease selling the brand in the UK and Ireland. GlamGlow will continue to sell products in select markets around the world. And despite GlamGlow's many issues as a brand, plenty of customers in the UK and Ireland were actually devastated by this news. Some still swore by GlamGlow's products as the only thing that they could rely on when they really needed a quick boost for their skin. And although general trends in the beauty industry had moved away from what GlamGlow was known for, that didn't mean that there was no market left for them at all. GlamGlow became so successful so quickly for a lot of reasons, but one of them was that for a lot of people, their masks were effective at what they claimed to do. They were a quick all-in-one solution that gave you brighter, glowing skin in a short amount of time. And a lot of them gave you that instant but temporary kind of glow. And many consumers still want that as a backup option when their skin isn't looking the best and they need a quick fix, right? When you look like shit and you have a big event the next day, or you look like shit and you need to go to work, many reasons. You mainly look like shit. But despite some level of demand remaining, it's not enough. And GlamGlow's decline hit a new low when Sephora stopped stocking the brand on their shelves, and they weren't the only ones that were favoring newer brands over GlamGlow. Even in the US, it's hard to find GlamGlow's products anywhere. Rather than being on shelves in luxury department stores like they were, or the world's biggest beauty retailers like their glory days, now you're more likely to find discounted GlamGlow products on the shelves at TJ and TK Maxx. You can find GlamGlow online now, and to be fair to them, they have drastically lowered their prices. Instead of paying $69 for 1.7 ounces of their best-selling Super Mud, you can now get twice the amount for just $42. But it does seem too little too late for many. The damage has already been done. The money's already gone, and most consumers have moved on. They found similar products from competitors that work for them, and they don't see a need to go back to GlamGlow, even if their prices are more competitive now. And while GlamGlow hasn't disappeared entirely, their relevance in the beauty world has significantly declined to the point where many look back on the brand with nostalgia now. I've not seen them on TikTok. Not once have I seen them on TikTok. Not even people reflecting on the brand. I feel like there's a whole generation who don't even know this brand exists. This shows just how quickly they've fallen out of relevancy in the beauty world. Just 5 or 6 years ago, they were one of the biggest names in their niche. Now, when GlamGlow gets mentioned, people think, oh yeah, I forgot about them. Remember them? Or I didn't even realize they were still going. Are they still around? In the space of just 15 years, GlamGlow managed to go from a complete unknown to Hollywood starlet to global household name to being mostly forgotten about. Kind of like a Hollywood celebrity, right? That's poetic. Honestly, they were a brand that were perfect for the time that they launched, right? Times changed fast in the world of beauty, even more so now. Just like in Hollywood, GlamGlow has failed to keep up with those changes, and they paid the price for that.